Hi, and welcome to the Indie Music Podcast, the podcast for independent musicians and other audio professionals. We're your hosts. I'm Matt Denton, also known as Mojo of Ragged Birds Music. I'm a Bay Area mix engineer and recording artist. And Douglas Reynolds of Resonance Mastering, a mastering engineer in Bloomington, Illinois.
Welcome to Indie Music Podcast, episode 226. Tonight, Matt and Doug do a split topic talk about reducing friction in your workflow. Matt discusses some thoughts he's been having on work-life balance. Doug talks about session recalls and pain points he's resolved with a new software package by Session Recall. Enjoy the show. Hey.
Hey. How you doing, man?
I'm doing really good.
Oh, good to hear. Happy Friday.
Yeah.
It's Friday as we're recording this. I don't know what day it is when you're listening to this, but I hope you're having a great day.
Yeah, if you're listening to this on Monday, we're here to give you hope that Friday's coming.
Friday's coming. It's Friday somewhere. No. It's it'll be Friday somewhere. I don't know. Oh my God, I'm melting.
It'll be 5 o'clock somewhere, you know.
Yeah. It's 5 o'clock here. I just had a
See? Point proven.
My mind just went blank. I swear to God, it's 96 degrees here. And this is the first time I've done a podcast with the windows open because it's so hot. I'm melting. I actually decided it was too hot for closed back headphones. I put on my open back headphones. I'm like, oh my God. What I had was I watched an episode of The Sopranos while I was installing some software, and had what's the thing with the Campari and the...
I don't know.
Campari gin and...
Never heard of it.
No, come on.
Seriously. I'm going to have to Google Campari, I think.
The Negroni. I had a Negroni. It was strong.
Okay, I've heard of that.
Negronis are strong. They're, it's Campari.
And you had that
gin.
right. You had that right before recording, right?
I did.
And here,
can you tell?
We get to the bottom of the...
Can you tell? It's a little bit of a mind eraser. Yeah, no, it's been a long week and a long day, and it's so freaking hot. Man, but the breeze is picking up. It's all good.
So where's the silver lining then? You know?
No, that is the silver lining. The breeze is picking up. I had a Negroni. It's Friday afternoon. I have a 3-day weekend because I took Monday off.
Well, a nice long Father's Day weekend for you then.
Yeah. We decided, and maybe I shouldn't broadcast this. This is like a new secret. We're gonna take off the day after Mother's Day and Father's Day so that we can celebrate Mother's Day and Father's Day with the in-laws because that's their time, and then have an extra day that's our time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. You got to kind of work.
And I don't know why we didn't think of this 20 years ago. But what a brilliant idea. Anyway, I took off the day after Father's Day so I can have a day.
We used to take vacation over Father's Day every year. We've done all of our, what we quote, epic vacations, and they have been, over like a 10-day period with Father's Day encapsulated in that time period somewhere.
Very nice.
Yeah, but not this year.
Not this year?
No.
So normally it's been kind of an unholiday, but that's partly because it's never about, us. It's always about the in-laws, my wife's parents. So, like I end up having the in-laws over and cooking for them instead of having, you know what I mean? So then it becomes an unholiday. So this will be nice. Anyway, I'm glad that the weekend has begun, and here we are. Zooming. Here we are zooming. Well, this isn't as bad as the 6 Zooms that I had yesterday because I don't have to be, on camera and talking about work stuff that I don't care about. But
yeah,
this is much more enjoyable.
So your level's good, but I wanted to ask you, how's your balance?
How's my balance? Because my balance has been off.
Level's really important, like in a mix, and you got to get your gain staging right and everything.
Right,
but
right.
That doesn't mean anything if you don't have a good balance going, and you've just got your mix laid out and everything is kind of in its pocket and working together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally know what you mean. Yeah, it's important to have your levels, your energy levels. It's important to have your gains, and it's important to have your balance right. Yeah. Yeah, I had a lot of stuff going on this week with regarding the whole concept of balance. I was in a chat on Thursday. Wait, that was yesterday. There's a chat that I like to jump into called Freelance Chat, and that's on Twitter. And yesterday there was a guest, and they were talking about balance, and the guest, whose name, interestingly, was Matthew Fenton. um, his deal is he doesn't call it work-life balance. He just calls it life balance because work is a part of life. You're not balancing your life with your work. You're just balancing your life with all the elements within it. And I really like that idea that you're just, getting the pieces of your life balanced rather than trying to balance against work or with work as if it's, an adversary or, separate entity that you need to work with or for or against. It's just part of your life, So that, and then we had a chat today, DIY music chat. We also talked a little bit about balancing, fitting your music in and around having a full-time job, as I have always had and always had to do. And that's always looks different, at some point, I was commuting by bus and mixing on the bus and working at home one day and doing some recording on that day in addition to work. And now I'm the opposite. Now I'm at home all the time and in the work in the office one day because of remote work. And so I'm having to time block differently, but finding different ways to balance all the various, I call it pillars, the various pillars of my life: family, right, self-care and rest, work. If you call it your side hustle, if you call it your avocation, if you call it your passion work, whatever you call it, that's another pillar of what keeps you going and keeps you motivated. It is, yes, all a matter of balance. And balance doesn't mean you do everything all at once, and it doesn't mean you give everything equal time in the same day. It just means that it all works out in a way that's hopefully fruitful in all arenas.
Yeah. I found that time blocking for me, I'd like to do it and it sets up a structure, but it provides no flexibility. And so I use it more as a guideline on what I'm hoping I can do. But depending on how things go, it may not pan out the way that I envisioned it, So a little bit plans in the sand kind of thing, and taking things as they come and not getting upset if that doesn't work out to my plan, because things happen, and it's not that you didn't account for something, or there's so many things out of one's control that can occur that affect time, and if you're busy, and we're busy.
Sure. And we're busy.
And it really comes down to prioritization, I think. And, so as you're looking at, here's the goals, but here's where we're at. And so what's the priority of the current list of things from the goals that we need to address, whatever that may be, and so, oftentimes it's like, well, maybe I can get 30 minutes of guitar practice in, at least if I get that in, I'll feel good about having done it, Yeah. And then maybe I might even be able to put 2 30-minute blocks together. Just the next block's going to be this evening, and instead of being able to put an hour together or something, and trying to remain flexible. Because in my goals, I said I wanted to do an hour on Saturday. I didn't say all at once,
Right. Yeah, and maybe sometimes two 15-minute sessions is better than 30 minutes straight. But yeah, I've tried a lot of tactics, and it's interesting. Maybe they don't all work for the same person in every season of your life. But, I've tried certain things like saying, okay, Monday's going to be an administration day. If I find time to do stuff, I'm going to do administration work. And then Tuesday would be a practice day. And then Wednesday would be like a writing day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like have designated days. But that kind of fell down because unless you have time blocks, then you're like, oh, I'll get to that, or, oh, this seems more important right now, or whatever. But, and then there's the whole idea of, okay, you have the one thing that you're going to do today. And if you do that first, you eat the frog, right? First thing in the morning, and everything else falls to the side until you do that one thing. And then everything else becomes easier. Have you ever seen that there's probably a video on it. It's the idea of If you do the big things first, then the little things can fit in around the cracks. And it was like, the best description of this is if you have a jar and then you have a bunch of, balls or rocks of varying sizes. If you put the gravel in first, then the big rocks don't fit. But if you put the big rocks in the jar first, then all the gravel fits around the big rocks. And the idea there is that, if you do the big important things and time block those and make time for them, then you can find the time for the little things. The gravel of your day fits in around those things. The little email here, the little phone call there, fits in around the time blocked important stuff that always seems to get pushed to the side if you feel like you don't have the time for it.
Yeah. Didn't that analogy end with the guy pouring water into that glass? And his point was remaining flexible and fluid. So,
right.
And that because when you take those things, and I think he was more saying rather than it's admin day, it's admin 10 minutes because I got this little admin thing to do. I'm going to do that and taking care of those things as they come. So you don't have a big buildup of a whole week's worth of admin to do. And then you have to block a whole day out for it.
Yeah. But my point, my falling down is that, if you have your email open and you just take things, even if they're little things, 2-minute things, 5-minute things, if you take them all as they come in and go, I can just take care of that. I can just take care of that. I can just take care of that. Suddenly your day is gone and you're like, you didn't accomplish anything. Here's something that I just started working on is like, I'm taking a vocal class and I'm committed to practicing every day, which is something that I have not been committing to for some time now. And the thing that I'm doing right now that I've never really done before is, I've kind of picked a time during the day for each day, and not the same time every day because my days are different, when I'm going to practice singing for half an hour or whatever. And if something comes up and bumps that, instead of, and now, like sometimes you go, I'm going to go to the gym. Oh, something came up, or I'm too busy. Oh, okay, I'll go tomorrow. Instead of saying I'm going to practice, I'm like, oh, something came up, I'm practice tomorrow because I didn't hit that time that I allotted for it. You have Google Calendar or whatever, you have your calendar, you just move it to a different time. Like, oh, something came up at 3:00. Well, then I'll sing at 5:00. Something came up at 10:00. Oh, then I'll move it to 3:30. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's something that I'd never really, it seems so simple and so obvious when you say it like that, but I never really did it before. It's like, oh, I had this time allotted, this time block, but something came up that I can't put off. So I guess I'll do it maybe tomorrow when I have another time block. Well, maybe that's going to get bumped too. You don't know, but rescheduling it is more true to your task and true to yourself. And you're kind of honoring yourself when you're true to something that you've said you're going to commit to. And it's okay to bump it for something that may have come up that, like, work calls and you have to jump on this emergent thing, or life happens, or you have to take somebody to the emergency room. Stuff happens.
Yeah.
And okay, if that happens, yeah, it's okay that you didn't get in your 15 minutes of singing or guitar practice today. You can do it. You can do that tomorrow. But otherwise, stuff happens every day that can bump stuff. Just reschedule it and honor that commitment. You don't have to do it for longer than you honored it for, but you can't just kick it down the road all the time, or else you'll just never do it at all.
Yeah. Well, like, I'm curious because, like, singing practice seems like something that you might be able to multitask.
Yes.
You could you can sing your emails as you're writing them or something.
That's actually not a bad idea. No, when I started, I've been known to, if I'm not an active participant in a Zoom meeting, for instance, I can practice guitar during that if I'm on mute. I don't have my camera on. And I don't necessarily feel comfortable doing singing during that time, but I will now schedule it for right after
the
a Zoom
mute button.
meeting.
I thought it was...
Yeah. Certain people have gotten in a lot of trouble for that kind of thing. But, I'll schedule it for right after a Zoom meeting when I'm already sitting here at my computer and I have everything open. And, like, why not, pull up my lesson and just continue on. I'm already sitting here. If it's only going to be 15-minute time block or 30-minute time block, then why not? So that's what I'm doing now. That's working for me this week. Of all the things that I've tried, that's something that I've never really tried before.
Well, you got to get it.
It's working for me.
what is it, 27 days? You got to make it 27 days to.
Yeah, that's what they say. 27, is it 27 days?
I
Yeah,
can't
I think
remember. It's
so.
one of those.
27. Yeah, I think it's in Atomic Habits, right? It's like 27 days to make a habit. That's a great book, by the way, Atomic Habits. I gave it to my kid to read, and he put it in this pile of stuff that I gave to read. Like, yeah, I'll get to that. Like, come on, man. That's habit 1. Read 30 minutes a day. Read a chapter a day. That's habit 1. It's in the book. Yeah, I'll get to that. Like, come on. Oh, anyway, time blocking, making time. Those are the things that are working for me. And moving your schedule around, being flexible. Understand that, yeah, okay, 4 o'clock isn't going to work every day, but maybe 4:30 will this day, or maybe 3 o'clock will this day. Be a little flexible, give yourself the grace, but honor your commitments to yourself. Be your future self's best friend. Anyway, that's the end of my lesson. What's on your mind this week, Doug?
Oh man, I don't recall.
You don't recall. I think you do recall. I think you have total recall.
I have total session recall. I had been thinking about little pains in the butt stuff. And one of those is recalling sessions. And I've been experimenting with some different stuff. At first, I started out just taking photographs of my devices, compressor and stuff like that. And what I found is, and then like saving, first of all, that's a pain in the butt because when it's on my phone, it's not on my computer. So after I take the photo, I got to send it over to my computer. So there's like barrier 1.
Yeah.
And then once I get over to my computer, then I got to get it into my session folder, to save it there. So I'm lucky if that happens. I've ended up with a Google Drive of the same image where I'm going, hey, which session is that?
Right.
It's the same image with different settings of hardware. And the idea, what I'm talking about is being able to go back into a session later and pick up where you left off with the same settings and everything. Now, in the box paradigm, you don't really worry about this because when you save your session, all of your settings for all of your plugins and everything are saved. So when you open that back up again, you have everything set up the way that it was. Even if you went to a new session, when you came back to it, everything was reset for you to where it was when you left it. If you save.
Right. The only thing there, and this is something that I've taught myself, is the naming convention, calling it version 1, version 2, final 1, final 2. That never works. So I've started making it by the date. Here's today's session.
Yeah. You can automate that stuff too. And in your saves as an action to append the date to the save if you want to, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. So you don't even have to do that. Like when I render, I have it append a number to the end of it automatically. So that way, if I render more than once, then I have render 1, render 2, render 3, because I actually have the created dates in the metadata already, so I can just see that easy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
As to what the date was and time. So I don't save that anymore. I used to. And then I have wildcards available to save this file name automatically of my session. Like if it just depends what I'm doing. I usually am only working with like one track, so I can save that as a track name if I want. Or the first thing I do is I create a folder and I create the session file name, and then I use the session file name then for the render name when I'm generating the WAV files and stuff like that. And it uses a $ wildcard title, and that just automatically creates the name of the file for me. So yeah, automating that kind of stuff is kind of hard to do outside the box. Now, as I was saying, so taking photos of the setups and saving those, it works. The thing that I found is that, and especially with controls that aren't stepped, and if you're looking at a photo, no matter if you get it square right on, you've still got a spread going outward, and so you can't tell exactly what a setting of a knob is on the right compared to a setting right down the pipe in the middle where you can't see. And so unless you take like 3 pictures, and now it's even a bigger pain in the ass. And so having accurate recall with images, with photography, it's just, I don't like it. It's just not precise enough for me.
It's never going to be more than really close.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so,
and especially if you have one piece of hardware leading into another piece of hardware, that difference may be more than minute. It may actually like be noticeable.
Yeah. And guys like Matt will pick that shit up like every time,
I mean, like, dude, it's over compressed. What happened there? Oh, well, I had it like the tiniest, it's like a millimeter up.
And so I said, okay, I got an idea. Pretty much every piece of hardware comes with recall sheets. Okay. And those are designed to print out and then you can just like make copies of that and,
sounds like too much work. I know that's how they did it for decades,
I haven't owned a printer in 10 years or more, and
are you serious?
Yeah, we don't use paper.
You don't even own a printer?
We don't own paper, dude.
Oh my God. Who are you? We'll have that discussion.
I'm that guy
out
there hugging the trees, okay? That's me.
I'll hug a tree. I'll hug a tree.
You'll hug a tree and then you'll go
make paper out of it.
Make paper out of it.
And I'll draw the tree.
You know what? And paper would have been good for this because I could have just had a little folder with a few sheets of paper in it, for sessions, and then but eventually I need to get that in and save in with the sessions, so I got a hard copy. So I was like,
that just sounds less accurate because now you're drawing a picture instead of taking a picture. You're drawing a picture.
No, they actually give you a graphic of the device, and then you can like make little marks or actually write in the actual values for each knob and stuff like that.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, let's take the paper concept and I'm going to go into Adobe Acrobat, and I took the session recall sheet and made a PDF out of it. And then I made the PDF editable and I added fields to it, and I made a template. And so then I grab the template and I save it, and then I go in and I can tab through each field and enter the values in. And that was actually, that's actually working pretty good. I would say that of all the things that I've tried, if you can get a PDF that's editable, has fields in it, you can, then it's on your computer. You open up the template, you create a new copy, save it in your session, and set up, all of your settings on there. And then you come back to your session, you can just open a PDF and get all your recalls from there.
Yeah, that's pretty clever. And I think Microsoft Word now edits PDFs.
Yeah. And so that worked okay. But then I found this thing, and I guess I should state that we're not
we're not yet sponsored by, but if you would happy to kick down some stuff, we'd be happy to.
So I found this piece of software called Session Recall, a great name. And, because I was looking for like, I wonder if there's like session recall templates out there that are better than what I'm doing, and there's actually some hardware out there that has plugins that go with them so that you can save the settings, but I don't have, that would be like Tegler has some devices that have plugins that go with them that you can, the plugin actually updates when you change something on the hardware device, and the hardware device actually updates when you change something on the plugin. Okay. And those are in sync. And when you save your session, it saves it in the plugin just like it was. And so when you open that back up again, your nice automated knobs turn to where they were in your session the last time, and you're set and ready to go. Pretty cool.
Oh, that's brilliant.
But I don't have that. But session
sounds really cool, though.
Yeah, that would be nice. So if you end up with some gear like that, that would be pretty sweet. But I found Session Recall, and it's at session-recall.com. And guys, I really think this is a neat piece of software. It's simple, okay? And it allows you to download your device, okay? So you can download your Elysia compressor, your dangerous hardware, your Tektronix, whatever. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of devices that you can download and basically build your rack. So there's patch bays, so you can recall how your patch bays were set up. So you can create a full view of your rack for your entire session and how you had everything configured and patched together. Pretty neat. So
yeah, I'm on their website right now.
Yeah, and the main software for it is free. You pay for the devices, and those are only like $4 or $5 per device, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Oh, wow.
And they're interactive. You can move the knobs and flip the switches and push the buttons, and have things either engaged or disengaged or whatever state they are. Like with my patch bay, I can choose a color and then select the patch points that are connected with that color. And so I can recall those again. I was hoping that it would actually draw the patch cable. I think that would be cool, but it didn't. It just gives you like a couple little dots showing this point connects to this point, But what this stuff does, you can save complete configurations of one or more devices and save a session. And then I can go back, and what it does is I have a database of sessions, and I can go back and recall those sessions anytime that I want to and pull it up. I need to see if I can export, but I don't know that I need to, because the other thing that I always like to do is like get that thing, whatever it was, into the session folder with all the...
Right. So it's all in one place.
But I don't think it actually needs to happen anymore, because now all my sessions are all in one place, and I'm good with that. And they're not required for the audio other than my setup if I do end up coming back to it. And it's not 100% of the time that I have to come back to a session. That doesn't where I've changed in between, if you know what I mean. So
right.
If it's within 24 hours, it's likely that I'm in the same session anyway. I haven't left it. And it just depends on the lengths of your jobs and how many jobs you got. And I do have times where I have multiple client work that I'm getting one done, and I move to another session right after that one. And then I send a demo out and might get feedback. Hey, I need you to jump back in and do something else. Or the mix engineer decided to change something. So can you drop this back in and tweak it as whatever it needs? That type of stuff happens. And so I could just go back to my session recall and bring up the session that I left, as long as I saved it. And it's nice because it takes the same amount of time to set up that recall as it did to create it on the hardware device in the first place. So yeah, there's so many devices. I'm sure that it's not 100% comprehensive. There's probably a lot of stuff it doesn't have, but they have generic devices. So you can it might be like they didn't have my patch bay, but they had a 24-point patch bay. I didn't have to have my patch bay. And it has features on it mine doesn't have, but I don't pay attention to those because it doesn't matter.
I wonder if you could submit your patch bay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you.
Well, their site says 200 brands, 1,167 racks, 477 modules. So yeah, I assume it's growing. That's not a round number by any stretch of the imagination. Be interesting.
Yeah, I know. And so they're not affiliated with any of the brands. It seems like they got a good thing going, and they've got permission from all the brands to do this. And I actually just saw Elysia post about it the other day. If they were saying something like, have you got your session recall on?
Nice.
And they were tagging session recall on that. So, and now I'm seeing Elysia come up in the, it's right on the front page here as one of the devices, in the rack. So I think, with permission, they're using all of these devices. So they're legit, and it's nice looking. And, so if you add a new piece of gear, you can go download that device. It's likely that they have it. And, within about like 30 seconds, that device is loaded in. You spent $4 or something like that on it. It's right in that neighborhood.
Yeah, it's pretty slick, man.
Yeah. And then you've got a database of every session and whatever configuration was in that session for everything that you do. And that's much more than I was ever doing, because, it was like one PDF for each device. And I hadn't been setting up recalls on my patch bay, because I didn't think about it until I was like, hey, I should be recalling my patch bay. And then I looked it up and they had patch bass, and I was like, yeah, this is cool. So anyway, I wanted to share that because when I was excited about it, again, we're not sponsored by Session Recall, but we'd be happy to be. And, but I thought you guys, our listeners, if that's something that you have a little bit of a pain point in, I would check this out. It's pretty neat. And I wouldn't say that if I didn't think so myself, because I'm using it myself. So it was something that I just wanted to let people know about. And I guess that's something, I don't need to get a sponsorship to do stuff like that. If there's something I think is cool and works well and it's solving a problem for me, I'm excited about that,
Yeah, same.
But anyway, that was what I was thinking about.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Getting all of my device recall balanced and feeling, in a state of kind of rack feng shui.
I like it. Rack feng shui. Well, speaking of gear, I guess, I don't know, maybe we'll cut this out, but I'll follow up on, I had ordered some stands for my monitors.
Oh yes, you've been very quiet about the stands.
I have been quiet about the stands. It took a long time to get here, and then it turned out that, like a dum-dum, I had ordered the wrong size. I knew that these were the isoacoustic stands, and I will say, first of all, they're very well made. I really enjoyed the kit. I would buy them again, but I'm not going to. I knew they came in a size for a subwoofer, and then I knew they came in size for near fields. I didn't know that the near field ones came in multiple sizes based on the size of your near fields. So I ordered ones that were too small, but it turned out that when I used them just as a test, they didn't make a noticeable difference over the isolation pads that I have now. So I sent them back. And that's why I haven't mentioned them. If you don't have any isolation stands or pads for your monitors, they're very nice. They range from $90 to probably $130, depending on the size that you buy. And then the ones for your subwoofer.
Is that per pair?
Or more. What's that?
Is that per pair?
Yeah, for a pair. It's a little kit, and basically it comes with like the top and bottom, and then it comes with short tubes, metal tubes, to barely raise them up about, I would say 2 or 3 inches, and then longer tubes to raise them up much higher. Like,
can you use like short tubes
inches.
and long tubes so you can angle and stuff like that too?
Yeah, and you can angle them. Yeah. So I set them up, I angled them, and I measured the room, and it was basically exactly like the reading that I had before with the foam guys that I use now that are also angled. And because I would have had to return, exchange, and pay shipping, I decided to just return them and not buy them again. But if I didn't have any and I didn't have to pay shipping twice, I would have bought them again. They were very well made, and I was definitely impressed with the make of them. But for my room, clearly it's the room that has those particular peaks and valleys and not these stands. So
yeah,
and it's probably because, and I should have guessed that, because my Callies are front ported, not rear ported. So it's not really the wall that's the issue, or the stand that's the issue. Anyway, that's the update.
Well, that's too bad.
It is too bad, but I did like the product. I thought it was very well made and well designed. That's why I was quiet about it.
I see. Yeah, I was going to ask, but it's like, well, he'll come out when he's ready.
Yeah. Yeah. And Sweetwater is very good about returns.
Oh, they're awesome.
All that stuff. Yeah. I mean, I always like Sweetwater.
I just got a delivery from Sweetwater today.
Did you?
Yeah. And
did you get your bit of honey, your Jawbreaker, and your Tootsie Roll?
I did. And I no longer hide that stuff. I just throw it on the kitchen counter. And
honey, where's all this candy coming from?
Yeah. We don't have that anymore. I found
it's just because I think you're so sweet. Honey.
Yeah. But I picked up a set of wireless microphone transmitter and receiver for my live gig for
cool.
the singer. The last gig, the singer was like getting himself completely. He's real active, and he's running around and twisting around and everything, and he's getting all tangled up, and and the microphone cable is getting pulled out of the microphone and all kinds of, and I was like,
that's no fun for anybody.
no, we had like the emergency run up on stage and switch cable thing going on and all kinds of stuff. And I was like, that's it. So I got some
cool
wireless transmitter receiver. I'm going to have a cable on the stage ready to go.
Yeah.
And because you just don't know, it's got 5 hours of battery life. It should be more than enough. But we do start, we certainly start setup and sound check is right in that area. So I'll probably sound check, take them off, put them in the charger, and then put them back on again. And then, what's it going to be like when we get a bunch of heads in there and a bunch of cell phones and we've got a bunch of people using the house Wi-Fi and
that's going to be interesting.
What kind of stuff is going to, is there going to be interference? Is it, I don't know. There's nothing better than a good old cable,
Spinal Tap when they were on the Air Force Base, his guitar started picking up the the air traffic control. I'm sure they've come a long way since.
Yeah. Anyway, looking forward to trying it. I hope they work out. I think the singer's going to be really happy with them.
Yeah.
And hopefully it'll free him up. He won't have to worry about that. And, in the end, hopefully that'll make a better performance, where it's not being interrupted with, dealing with cable stuff. So.
Yeah. And I think that the overall theme now then is reducing friction in your workflow, right?
Yeah.
Like any place that you can reduce a pain point or friction, like, you know what? Take care of that.
Yeah, I mean,
and then it makes everything better.
I'm with you.
if that's your time in your day, if that's your speaker stands, if that's your monitor or your workflow recall, hey, whatever you can do to reduce your friction and get to the creativity, get to the good stuff, do that thing. It's worth it.
That's so crazy. You brought all that together like that.
Boom. Like you thought I wasn't paying attention.
I mean, out of nowhere. It's unity.
Unity. Synergy. It's my deal. Cool. Well, on that note.
Well, I hope everybody has had a happy Father's Day when you're listening to this.
Yes. And I hope you had a great week. And I hope you survived this heat wave and are not melting somewhere. And had a great week and a great weekend. And thanks for listening.
Yep. Subscribe.
Like, subscribe, and share.
Reviews.
Reviews. Tell a friend. All right. Have a great week, everybody.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
See you later.